We are excited. We've got probably the artist of the year in the state of New Jersey, maybe? I mean, it's possible. He is blowing up. Ricardo Roig is here on the show, on the podcast. We're really excited to talk a little bit about how he got started, what he's all about. He is a creative mind here in Hoboken. He's Hoboken's gem. He hasn't been here long either, right? Haven't been here long, but I don't know. Yeah, you are blowing up, and really appreciate him coming on the show and spending some time. So Ricardo, just kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, how you got to Hoboken, and what the business is all about.
I came to Hoboken in 2007, and I worked at Legion Cafe, and I was a waiter there for about 3 years, on and off. I wasn't the best waiter, so they. But
I remember that.
I was a terrible waiter, and but
You were serving tables.
Yeah,
you were behind the bar.
Tried to. Well, they did put me there for one brunch, but that didn't go so well. This pub crawl came in, and I was like, "What's happening?" And he's like, "Stay with me." And I was like, "I don't know what to do." And but you know, it was a really like a lot of aligning of stars. I worked for Eugene Flynn. Oh, yeah. I worked with Steve Schneider, who now owns the bar, who became famous, you know, but had a previous career in the military, which is just so honorable. Just Andrew Martinez was there. Then he went to Harlem to open up Bo Bagels, which has like been this blow up thing. And
so this is like a little stomping ground.
There was a lot of people there that worked there at the time. There's this guy Andrew Emery who is hilarious, and he's doing really well now in Florida. So it's like really fun, but nobody wanted me to work because we pooled tips. And I was a terrible waiter, so they're like, "Oh, Ricky's here," you know, like,
"Oh man,
we have to split tips," and everybody's like dumping like dollars in and I'm like coins, you know.
While you're working there, you're painting on the side.
I always painted.
Yep.
I always made art. When I was hanging out with my sister last night, and she was like, "You remember when we sheetrocked the second floor and you drew on all the walls?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot about that whole episode." Like. Art was always something that I did. You know, it's just like, you know, I don't know. It's just a natural. It's like a natural thing.
It's passion. It's
and it's also how I just kind of show gratitude for all of the like positive and things that have happened for me and for my family, and like all the luck and all the like, a lot of luck and just a lot of. You know, like all the you just said such kind things, you know, like I want to earn that. So I put in the work,
right? And
I just always worked. Like it's been kind of maybe a little obsessive. Like in college, people will be like, "Oh, I'm done with my schoolwork." And I'm like, "Your schoolwork was to paint. Like, let's go paint some more."
Yeah, right.
You know, so I'd go on the roof and do like skyline oil paintings.
Where's this one college?
Baltimore. I went to MICA.
Nice.
So I had this
big art school, right?
It's a great art school. Oh my God, it changed my life. But
where are you from originally?
Westfield, New Jersey.
Okay. And you just did some stuff there, right? You did a mural in Westfield?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. I was talking about Baltimore. Yeah, Westfield. Yeah. I grew up in Westfield and did a mural there. It was awesome.
Here in Hoboken, when was your jump off? When was your like, okay, Ricardo's here?
Artistic debut. So
Yeah. So like when I was waiting tables during the day, I would be student teaching because I went back to school to become a teacher. So during the day I would do teaching classes, and at night I'd wait tables, and I would just do that grind of like always working. So it's just been part of like my DNA. I mean, I got a job as soon as I could get one, like scooping ice cream in Westfield, you know. So the debut for the art was basically when Elysian was like, "Thanks but no thanks." You know, like I was really good for
fired, but
Eugene was like, "Sell your paintings," and I was like, "Okay." My wife was like, or my girlfriend at the time, but I was hoping she'd be my wife. It was like, sell your paintings.
How many paintings did you have at that moment?
Well, at that moment, I probably had like 80 to 100 paintings.
Oh, wow.
And I went to the Arts and Music Festival, and I put a rug on the floor, and I just put all the paintings out. And people were like, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, I'll buy that. And I was
What
like...
year was that?
2010.
Wow.
And then I was like, great, like you want my art? Like, this is awesome. And then it just kind of went from there. Then I sold, so then I quit waiting tables and just sold off of the sale of my art. And then I did that until my girlfriend, now wife, was like, if we want to get married, I need you to have a job, like a job. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so whatever you want me to do. So I thought, you know what, always wanted to be a teacher, like always wanted to try that out, because being an artist is like teaching anyway. It's like inherently, so you kind of want to give as much as you can, and your art form is how you give, but instruction and igniting fires to live paths of life, longer than you is just like passing on that torch. So it was I was like, I'd love to teach, so I became a teacher, and then I stopped living just off my art.
So
and then
what were you teaching?
Art, to elementary kids. And then we opened up a gallery together in Hoboken on First Street. We bought the commercial space. It was like 200 square feet, and I started showing my art there. So I went from selling my art at arts and music festivals to frame shops to hair salons to anywhere I could get my art in front of people.
Right.
And
who was the most supportive during that climb?
Still supportive is Steve Kuniff, who owned Imago Hair Salon for 25
Where's
years.
That, on Washington?
They closed recently, and he opened up his in Jersey City, but he was there for 25 years, right? 113, right? 113? 113 is like on Washington Street.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the big building.
So he was buying a lot of your stuff.
Well, he always bought my art, but he showed it and sold it.
Right.
He's a very good at selling anything. And so he was like very passionate about me, took me under my wing, because the frame shops really were cool, but they're after their own interests.
Yeah, they weren't.
They want to sell frames, and then they take half. And I just felt that was like, if they paid you. So I was like, I got to stop being taken advantage of. So I went to Steve, and he supported me, and he still does. He still shows my art sometimes in his salon in Jersey City.
Two things recently that I think kind of really put you not on the map, because I think you were already on the map for Hoboken, but really extended you to like the next level was the W Hotel. Talk us a little bit about how you got in there.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. So then we opened up this gallery on First Street in 2015. We got married, and then I said, let's buy this commercial space. She's like, let's go for it. I'm like, oh, I'm so in love. Like, we didn't even have a house or a home.
No,
that's like first what you want to buy, right?
High risk, high reward.
Well, it's just like, you don't even have a home yet.
But she believed in you.
She always did. I mean, it was all about her. It's all about her. I met her in 2006, when I left art school, and I came back, and I didn't have a job, and I lived with my parents, and I didn't graduate from school, and Michelle was like, graduate from school, move out of the house, and take your art seriously. And she was at my first art show in 2006 in Newark, and so, you always have to have your muse as an artist, so she's totally my muse, and now my son is, as well, it's... So anyway, so then Michelle said, let's buy this thing, this 200 square foot commercial space right here. Yeah. We bought it. We said, let's try it out. It was so, just like so many people just showing so much love and support for like your journey with your art, and then the W Hotel was like, yeah, we've been, seeing what you're doing on First Street. You want to come and open up in our lobby and kind of do, work that here? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
who's the contact? Was that
so it's through like their whole marketing team, their insiders. Even they broke it into the staff. Like they asked the staff, what would you like to see here? And a lot of people were saying like a game room. And then one staff member was like, how about a art gallery? That brings, connects people. And then they looked into art galleries and they liked what we were doing. So they brought us in. And then my wife was like, you better quit that teaching job.
What year is this?
She's like, you better, because there's only so many hours in a day. And if it's like, I'm teaching, and then I'd rush here by like 4 o'clock to meet a client for a sale, and then I'd work the gallery till 8, and then I'd go to my studio till 3 in the morning, and then I'd go to teaching, and I'm like, you can't, I was holding another person back from being an amazing art teacher. That's how I felt. I felt like it was my time to close the door of opportunity for me to open it for someone else. Cool. And then the person who took over would changed their life positively. And for me, going, both feet in or both arms in, with the W, just wholeheartedly transformed everything.
Now,
everybody says quit your job, but it has to be a thought out plan. Yeah. It's not
you have to have a script.
Yeah, and I love teaching. It just didn't make sense. Michelle's whole family is all MBAs, so they're all business. And the guy, her cousin, was he's a financial planner, and he's like, look, these are the hours you're spending as a teacher. You're basically doing it for free because you're successful with your art in your income. So you're paying more in taxes, and those hours are free. And when he showed me that I was actually going to teach for free, I just said, you know what, I love teaching. Maybe in the future I could just have a pupil in charge and have a small group instead of the public school setting where it's 25 kids, which is a delight because the more people you can reach is the goal.
It's like coaching basketball.
But at the same time, you have to look out for yourself. And if I can't spend time with my family because I'm working all the time, I need to make sure that work is
everybody has to prioritize. You get a wife.
I loved it though.
You have your passion, which is art, which you're fortunate enough and skilled enough to turn into a revenue stream.
Thank God. Yeah.
So you have to prioritize.
Yeah.
What talk to us about the logistics.
But it was cool that other people jumped in to prioritize for me.
Oh yeah.
Because they just saw. They're like, Rick, what's
good.
going on here? You're working all the time.
What logistically
is that bad? I don't even call it work. You know what I mean?
The W Hotel. Do you have to staff it yourself? Do you have to pay rent there? Is it? How does
that work? Well, at first they gave us a period of time to try it out because I was like, wow, that sounds like But then it transformed into something else, and as it should. I mean, it is what an opportunity. So they are the nicest people. They are so generous.
Making so much money.
They are.
The place is sold out $400 a night. I cannot say enough good things about the W Hotel. Everybody, every staff member, you walk in the door. I mean, we had a son. They gave him gifts. They treat him. Hey, Rick. Everybody, they have handshakes with them. Everybody cares. There's so much empathy there. That it was just and it still is just it's just a dream. You walk in that door, your name's there. They we love your art. Keep what you're doing. They support you and this creative effort, which is you don't get that. Yeah. Not a lot of artists get that opportunity. So I was like, look, I'm blessed with this. So how can I pay it forward in my opportunities for myself with other artists and things, but that space is for my work only, which is very clear in what are established. So, it's for me to just use as a studio and evolve, and I have, and they said, who's your shipping company? And I was like, all my collectors are in town, or maybe Connecticut, I don't know, New York, suburbs, and they're like, no, we're in an international hotel. Who's your shipping company? And it's actually become a big part of the business is shipping out art weekly, which is crazy. I have a collector coming in from Guatemala Saturday for a commission. I just shipped one out to Germany. It's provided. There's nothing to repay them. So what I said is, what can I do for you? Anything you need. And
and the Berry brothers own it, so they said we'd love one of these, the H piece. They like the small H piece. I was like, no, this opportunity, you guys are getting a large, piece. So I delivered it to their office right on Washington, which is full of amazing art. And now I'm like, wow, these people are really art people. Like, they really to be liked by that is just like, wow, they have a discerning eye. They really know what they're looking at.
The Berry brothers are all about Hoboken.
So,
but I was going to ask
generous
before you mentioning that. Is Hoboken kind of your, obviously a lot of your art is...
but wait, let me just finish off. So one agreement we have is a mix and sip. They said have a party every Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. We'll provide you the drinks.
Mix and sip.
Just get some music.
Write this down.
Yeah,
right in our alley.
Mix and sip every Thursday, 6 to 8, and I try to be there every week. So it's just 6 to 8 p.m. They wanted a space for the community because they realized that to have community, you need space. So they wanted that to be the space between Hoboken residents and these international guests. So they tell all their guests. So you get people that are staying there, right? Maybe in Hoboken just for one night. Maybe it's their one night they ever stay. But if you weren't there to talk to them, then they're going to stay another night and fall in love with it. So it's like an opportunity to cross paths with so many people. And we, thankfully Ashley, our manager there, runs it so smoothly, and we always have like something to drink, something to eat, live music. You meet a local musician.
Free to attend.
And that's what they asked for. Right. They said, as long as you do this every week, we'd love for you to be here. And I was like, that's amazing. And they've been so nice. Even when we moved from one spot in Hoboken to the other, I got the dates mixed up, so we actually had to move twice, to a storage unit. Right. What you don't want to do, but who left me in charge?
Talk a little bit about
they let me stay there and treated us and everything. It was just they're the nicest. It's just, that was the biggest, and then since then it's just kind of really been insane. We opened up a gallery in Westfield, New Jersey. We opened up a larger space on First Street. We opened up a little window in Boston. So, and we hired a framer, a manager, an assistant to the manager, a delivery guy. Ooh. And all these people love doing those things. So through the success of this, it's provided opportunities for other, which is just so nice. My delivery guy loves it. He's like, where's this going? And he treats it I'm like, Columbus Circle, I don't know. He's like, I'll figure it out. And he's cool, picks, he's like a teacher.
Is he a Hoboken guy?
He lived in Hoboken for a while. He lives in Garwood now, Scotch Plains now. And, he comes in, he's a teacher, so he ends work at 3:30. Yeah. And so it's extra income, and, Ashley loves it. She's meeting so many people. And,
Hoboken person?
Yeah, at the W, and it's crazy. Sharon Stone stayed there last week and asked if she could borrow our furniture, which the space is furnished by Jenny Madden Design.
You're talking about space in the W.
Yeah, so Jenny Madden Design is a local designer, and she designed the space. It's beautiful. She actually grew up with me in Westfield as well. And I was like, you're a designer in town, come on in, can we collaborate? She goes, I'd love to. And Sharon Stone stayed there and asked for the furniture. And I was like, of course.
What do you mean, asked for the furniture in the space?
Yeah, in her suite. She was shooting a movie. Yeah, she loved it. She found it very inspirational.
Bring the furniture downstairs.
That's kind of bougie,
It's inspirational, man. These people are
well, I think it's both, right?
It's a little
I'm happy to oblige.
What was wrong with the furniture?
Nothing wrong with it. It's just you see something that's inspirational. It's art. You know what I mean? It's not.
That's cool.
Okay. So maybe, I know a lot of artists in their studio.
I thought that was just fantastic.
What studio or gallery in town will have events. Do you have any events? Do you ever host events in your spot in town? Not in the W, and the other one that
so on First Street here, it's basically I work out of there now, and my framer frames out of there now. So if you want to do some framing for yourself, you don't have to just buy my art and frame it. You could frame whatever you want. I just found that
we could bring something to you to frame.
Yeah, you have a wedding photo you want to frame, or concert tickets, or anything. I partnered with Krista, who loves framing. She's like, my goal in life is to frame. She stands for 10 hours a day just framing. She just loves it. So I needed somebody to keep up with the demand for my work on a weekly basis, and So Krista frames all the work because I want my art, it's paper art, so I want it to be preserved.
For sure.
I care about the client. I want them to have something long lasting. So for me to like finish it in the same room and frame it in the same room is amazing.
big,
Like
yeah.
the logistics of bringing things back and
Sending
forth,
them,
or carrying, wrapping, all the maybe plastics and things you have to use to from one to the other. Right there, I finish it. She frames it. It's totally like fluid, and framing is not something that I make my living off of. I make my living off of art. Framing is something that is necessary. So I don't need to make money off of you if you need something framed. Like I could show you what it costs and you'll be like, wow. And I'll be like, great, do it.
Some of these
Like,
places in Hoboken,
just because like you
it's
should
ridiculous.
have a beautiful home and have the things that make you inspired, just like, you need the space.
You put up the
so,
poster and then you paint around it in a rectangle, and you say ba-bum, and then it's framed.
But dude,
Oh,
there's
the poster. So you're like doing nails.
Yeah.
the places in Hoboken.
Hey
are-
man, that's
you know,
unique framing. You know,
Well, expensive.
What are you, a modern artist?
I have a art question. Okay. Why you mentioned that you do paper art? Now, for someone that's not cultured, such as myself, why paper?
Hey, you don't say
rather-
you're cultured,
rather
dude. I
than-
listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
The stuff you talk about, man.
I know some words.
Oh,
I know
cultured.
I know
No,
some
yeah,
words.
that's
Word.
come on.
Specific
Cul-
to art, you might
You're
not
not
be-
cultured. Come on.
Why paper rather than canvas?
And second to that, you can jump in. I'll parlay it into. You have a specific way that you do your art. I know
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
And also,
yeah.
people might know your art on a worldwide stage because of the New York City skyline. So how much is that kind of played into? So the three different questions kind of molded into one.
Okay, so the
5
first
words.
Paper
Yeah.
art. Paper art. You're cutting into little pieces,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
saying it very simplistic, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
more
you know
advanced.
it, yeah.
And then third, how much have you used the New York City skyline and kind of like the Hoboken into the art that you do?
Yeah, I mean, you use with what you have. I mean, right now you have the iPhone with the lights, and like.
This is recorded.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
A spotlight is no
we all
joke.
at a certain.
Wait, is he taking shots at us? Was that a shot?
Shots fired.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I'm just saying, like, you'd use what you
Yeah,
know what
we
I
don't
mean?
have
Like
much here,
this,
yeah.
but this is gonna grow, man.
Nah, well,
We
I
put-
thought this was a conference call.
we were recording. Yeah, that's great.
You know who we need here is Adam Wade, man. That guy's hilarious.
Oh, the Adam on the bench.
Yes,
The dude on the bench.
Yes, man. You need.
I never
Adam.
met him.
Bring him on.
I would love to.
I
bring
don't know
him.
who
Let's
this
call him
guy
up.
on the
This
bench
guy
is.
sets
Oh,
up.
come
how
on!
long
You need to
should-
go to the
we
bench,
should get
man.
the elf on the
I
shelf.
love
No,
Adam.
this guy's
guy on the
like
bench.
he
The
sits
best.
on a bench on the corner
I
of
love
9th and
him.
Washington
I
or
love
somewhere,
him, yes.
and he just does a FaceTime live.
Amazing. He's a
and just
comedian.
talks about Hoboken. Man.
He's a
It's
comedian.
hysterical.
Yeah, hilarious.
He talks about the seagulls and the birds flying over.
hilarious,
It's like hysterical.
hilarious dude. Yeah.
So again,
Okay,
paper art.
so yeah,
You have what you
your
work with what you
question
have.
was.
Well, maybe just explain the type of art.
Oh, the
for,
type of art, okay.
Anyone that doesn't know.
So basically, what I do is I take a piece of paper, and normally, you draw something. I guess normally it's like human. You would draw something, but instead I take a blade, and then I use that to cut the line that I'm imagining. So it's like an imaginary line, but that's the line that separates two types of colors, because colors all have relationships, right?
Right.
You place one color next to another, you're gonna not only see a different color but feel a different way. And so I'm really into color and shapes. So the type of art that I make combines the two, where I cut out the shapes of color, and that's for one color only out of that piece of paper, and then I attach it to the bottom of a screen, and then I screen print only that color. And then I do that, hopefully 20 times, but it breaks while you're doing it. So I try to get 20 as the max. And then I throw out that stencil, and then I cut another piece of paper with, the next color. So the first one might be orange, and now I'm going to do blue, and then the next layer might be yellow. And so it's screen printed.
I see you do it. I see the
Yeah.
process. You've been doing it on Instagram a little bit. On
Yeah, I'm
story.
trying to show more people
Man,
the
it's a
process,
process.
like
Like
because
how
I just
long
want.
does one
It depends the size and intricacy
We're talking
and
hours,
things.
though, for sure.
Well, the thing which really held me back in the past was the fact that I had to clean the screen each time. It's like when you cook, you have to clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
So I said, how can I speed myself up? So I hired somebody to clean my screen. So now I'm just really rolling in the art.
Yep.
I'm just cutting and squeegeeing, and someone else is cleaning my screen and putting away all the paints, sweeping the floor of all the shapes. And it's really, it's funny, like, I'm like, can I afford to hire somebody to come and clean my screen? But, time, man, whatever gives you more time,
at home,
right?
Do you make your wife clean up after you the way you make someone clean up after you in your heart?
I do cook,
'Cause that'd be messed
so
up.
she
That'd
likes
be
to
totally
clean
messed
because
up, bro.
she likes to clean when I cook. But no.
Does she cook too?
She cooks. Yeah, she cooks. But I clean up after her when she cooks.
Now,
It's kind of like,
as long
that's
as
like our
it's quality.
rule. Like, if you cook,
All
someone
right,
else
all right,
cleans, and if
quality.
they cook, yeah, no.
That type of art
But
fits your
she's
personality.
amazing. No, she's amazing. I mean, she does it all. Yeah, she allows me to make art because she just, she allows me to live, man. She's it,
Does
I'm
that
sorry.
type of art that you do fit the type of personality or the passion
Totally.
that you
Yeah, totally.
Where is that come? Like, where is that?
Well, I feel like we're a lot of things, right? And so I can compartmentalize those things
Right.
in my process. Like today I'm cutting, tomorrow I'm squeegeeing, the next day I'm dreaming, imagining, thinking, planning, making lists. Then the next day I'm, cutting, then just cutting manically, and I like cutting. I like things in a certain I love shapes, like, so you can't really create shapes with a brush. At least I couldn't. I mean, artists do all the time. They do tape, and there's a lot of artists I admire, but I could never do with a brush what I can do with a stencil.
What's the
So the cutting allows me to put the color where I want it to go. And I think we all are like, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a realtor, parking dude, basketball, podcasting, friend, mentor. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we all are lots of things. So for me to have therapy of all those things, it allows me I'm cutting shapes. It's just my meditation. I just obsess over it, and it slows down time. It's really compulsive or something.
So
but
you find cutting cathartic.
Well, it's permanent. It's permanent. I do. It's permanent. It's like I cut a square. There it is. If I painted a square, every brush stroke is going to be muddled from the previous brush stroke. Then I have to clean it to get that sharp edge of the brush stroke. It's like, when you want a sharp edge, like I love color hitting color, and I couldn't do that with the brush. It would always be feathery in between. And the featheriness drives me insane. Although people love my paintings and they, have them and they enjoy them, but for me and my own satisfaction, I needed this hard edge. So it wasn't until I went back to school to become a teacher that I learned that process. That came haphazardly when I moved. So it all happened at the same time. I moved to Hoboken to wait tables, and then I learned this process, and I got the key to the studio, and I would work, late at night there, and whenever I could get in there. And then I eventually worked out of my apartment, and then I eventually got a shared studio space, and then, it's just kind of like, you do what you can with what you have. And I guess that is you're talking about the skyline is I've never seen the skyline the way that I make it. That's why I wanted to make it.
Yeah, that's a good
You know what I mean? It's like you never read a certain book because you never read it from that author's point of view. We all possess our own perspective on things. And if you work hard at it enough and have the genuinely good vibes and feelings to promote it, if it comes from a good place of peace and love and enchantment and wonderment and elevation of human thinking and thought and whatever your art comes from. For me, it comes from an abundance of joy, luck, happiness, love. That's where my art comes from. And I think that's why it connects with so many people, because joy and happiness and love is abundant. I don't know, what you're reading about or what you're seeing. It's there and it needs to be seen. And I try to show it through my, time-consuming process. But I love it. Like, if you had to consume your time doing something you love, like, I could just sit there and, like,
that's good.
I just feel like, you're just, like, everything's, like, first try instead of, like, drawing something with a pencil and erasing it. And then, like, editing your post. Or, like, just put it out there. Like, just, like, first impression. And coming tonight was very nerve-wracking for me to, like, put something like this out.
Stop.
But,
Right,
like,
right.
I'm like, you know what? Put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And whenever I take on a commission or another project, I'm always like, damn, all right, raise the bar, raise the challenge. Like, how can I make this a learning experience?
This is a show about Hoboken. So, obviously you run a business. A lot of your clientele are residents here. What are some of the things, both pro and con that you've experienced, both in the business and personally in Hoboken?
I mean, my friend, shout out to Jersey Dave, my friend, he always has this phrase, all wins, no losses. So I'm going to say that. There's been no negative, nothing negative.
You can maybe count the parking as negative.
It's funny because, like, I remember having a studio
Come on,
at...
I know you're like, this...
I mean, I can't.
He's really
honestly, man,
positive.
I
Positivity.
can't.
For parking gave him an opportunity to ruminate and to
Soul search.
to find an artistic idea.
No,
that
parking,
positive.
dude.
You and I both can't do this.
Dude, parking.
I can't be positive like this.
I'm not.
I find I find negative things so quickly, right? And I bring them up and complain about. But you are the same, right? Like,
well, complaining is
this
my,
is like
my
this
people's
is like
national sport.
This is
So,
a human
yeah,
being that is like unbelievably positive.
You have to
with
be.
substance behind it, because people that are positive with jack crap behind them, because I know we're not cursing. So
I mean, you have to be.
I
What's
know.
the alternative?
Can't stand them.
The alternative is
Being
looking
negative.
at something looking at something and be like, that's broke. Let me dissect that and why it's broke. And in that process, you have to apply some negativity to it. That's what I...
Well, I don't think it's negativity as much as realism. And I'm not saying that you're not being realistic.
Well, that's
I'm just
interesting.
saying counter what he's saying.
That's
You know?
interesting. You're right.
I don't know. I
Positive and
mean, I
negative
can
is
only
different
speak
from
for
being-
myself, man. I'm not trying to preach to other people.
All right, so what are some of the
I'm just,
positive
you know what I'm
things?
saying?
No, I get it,
I'm not trying to preach to you. I mean, I make things with my hands. I create art. I'm not trying to,
haven't come on
people
preaching.
have tons of hardship in their life, and the world is not, for everyone. But I'm just saying, for me, like, personally, like, I have two great sisters with families, and my mom loves me. Like, I have an amazing wife. I have this amazing son. I have such wonderful people who encourage me and value me and offer me opportunity.